You're tuned into the Visibility Strategy live stream with Amy Nubson and Christina Vidovich, where strategy meets storytelling and confidence takes the spotlight. Join us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern as we help you set sail on your visibility journey. You're tuned. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, to this episode of Visibility Strategy, where we talk visibility tactics, things that you can do to use in your everyday life to get visible. And today's topic is public speaking, PowerPoints versus speaking from the heart. I am one of your hosts this morning, whenever you listen to this, Christina Vidovich. I am a visibility strategist helping women get visible online, in the room, and in the ways that they want to be seen.
And I'm Amy Nubson, and I am a growth strategist. And what I do is help businesses and your personal life, your personal brand, because let's face it, today's world, part of business is our personal brand, get noticed, and how to grow into that space by helping the business support itself and you. So we are here to talk about the idea of a structured conversation of a speech versus the let me just express to you what I know and how I want to connect. And they're both valid, right?
Yeah.
They both have their purpose. But what is the difference and when do you use them?
Which is I want to say, I don't know when I say congratulations, my words today. Yes, it's just that so important, because how many times you're trying not to yawn as you're listening to a PowerPoint because the speaker has not connected to the audience. Is it great information? Yes. Is it valuable information? Yes. Is it things that you could apply today and suddenly make changes in your life, in your business? Yes. There's no connection. Who cares? And I don't mean to be mean when I say that. It's just that's what your audience is thinking. They're not saying it out loud, but it's going through their mind.
Well, you have to have the audience's buy-in first, right? Like you have to get them involved and understand why, especially if you have a PowerPoint, you really have to have that buy-in for them to actively listen. And as a person of ADD, if there's too much going on, I'm reading or I'm distracted and I'm like, wait, what are they saying? And then I'm like, and then my brain is trying to connect the dots. So if you're off on the PowerPoint, then I'm like, what's going on? Like there's a lot more that starts happening versus me just being engaged with the speaker.
Yes.
So if you don't need a PowerPoint, don't use it. Try not to, or just one word or an image to help you recognize where you are. That's what you need it for, is timing. Because I get that. I can get off topic. I can totally take that trail over here and I'm like, but then I'll bring it back. But sometimes those images just help me keep on track on the pace that I need to be. But it's an image, not word for word what I'm going to read. Because otherwise, why do I need you? I'll just read it.
Exactly. Agreed 100%. It's like if you have a list of bullet points, simply put the bullet point up by itself. Don't put all of them up at once and get the person confused, because exactly what you said, Amy, this is our human condition. We can only focus on one at a time. I'm either busily trying to write down what's on that, grabbing my phone to take a picture of the slide, or I'm actually sitting there listening to you. I can't do everything at the same time. It's just not possible.
Oh, but we like to try, don't we?
We do.
But you're right. It is completely, and as we get older, it's even harder to do all three of those things. And then get even older, you're like, I can't see the slides. Then you're over there going, what? And you're squinting. Then you're really losing your audience.
Yes. I agree. And it's funny because that is something. I'm not a PowerPoint user. I'm someone, as you know, who is very much in the moment, in the room. I am going to talk with my body, with my hands, as I am now, for those who can't.
I have my hands in my lap, so I don't talk with my hands.
But there's just a different expression. And look, if you're listening to this right now, you can hear the inflection in my voice. Am I excited to talk about this topic? Oh my goodness, yes. You betcha, you can hear it. But when you're reading from the slides and you're just talking with that monotone, no, we have lost it. And it's just to your point, with the few PowerPoints that I've done, prefer the image because it's bringing out an emotion. It's like, it's making me think along the lines of, oh, putting those words to this image so that it's more relatable, not just words that I have to memorize like an old textbook.
Yes. Yes, and like we said in the very beginning, there is always a purpose for a PowerPoint, especially if you're training something like that has a step-by-step process that you need to really reinforce. Those are great PowerPoint examples of why you'd want to use one, or if you really have to make sure that people understand a phrase, something that's memorable that also reinforces exactly what you need to tell them and for a reason that helps the brain to go, oh, I can read it. I can hear it. It's giving more senses. Those
Yeah.
are great, great opportunities to do it. But when you're just trying to like talk about who you are, and then I've done it myself on stage and I'm like, do I trust the PowerPoint? So I turn my back to the audience and I look back and I'm like, and I'm clicking, and then the clicking throws me off, so there's this flow that you have to kind of balance when you're doing a PowerPoint, and
Mhm.
you're constantly turning your body away and to the audience instead of staying fully engaged straight ahead and just looking at them and, and scanning the audience.
Exactly, and that scanning of the audience, you know how it's landing. You have such a better sense of if it's making sense, if they're getting it by the smiles, the laughter, because what do we tell people? You have to have a little humor in what you're doing as well, or it's just another talk. And so, absolutely, it can be distracting, and I like to think of it as more of the emphasis. If you're telling that story and you're crafting that story, let's use that moment, boom, here's the emphasis. And one of the Amy's things that she teaches everyone, the pause.
Yes. The pause is amazing. That should be your anchor, not the next slide clicker, right? Just take a pause, then move on to the next thing. Because what we're also allowing them to do is to kind of like that information to kind of like as it's swirling around in our brain, it kind of anchors in, and that allows them to come next. So that pause is beautiful. But when you're playing with the tech or if tech isn't working and then you get all flustered and then you're behind because the tech hasn't worked. And then before you know it, then you're talking a little bit faster and then a little bit faster, and then you're not pausing at all. And eventually, so I've done it myself where then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I need to really take a breath here. Because I've gotten myself too flustered.
Yeah, yeah.
Where if you don't have a slide, they don't know if you missed it.
Very, very true. And exactly that. It's like getting flustered by the, oops, I speak
Exactly. It's going through in our heads.
right. Exactly. It's like I skipped it and I didn't mean to, and now oh, what do I do? It's just like, chill out, one, you
Yeah.
know? And what's the other thing? Don't apologize, just like, oops, it just happened. All right, let's go back. So you
Yeah.
don't, I mean, because you don't want to seem unorganized. That can really throw a wrench in when you seem unorganized. You lose your authority.
Yeah, and the thing too is there's always problems with tech these days. Like something doesn't work, there's a glitch, like or maybe the show is running behind, and then, so then everything just kind of compiles with what I like to do is if I do have slides, I always have them printed out with me. So if I had to have it with those slides, then I'm like, okay, then at least I know the tech. If it doesn't work, here it is. Because that was my rhythm. I had practiced with the slides, so then I'd use them back in the day, but you never know. And a lot of times I've been on calls, I'm even on Zoom, and you're like, just go. It's okay. You can see the slides. We can. Go ahead, just go through it. Unless it's really important, like that, an image that needs to be shown like a diagram, like this is what it is. And, you're instead of explaining it, you're showing it, then just put that image up. So I agree. I think PowerPoints are fabulous, but they can be such a distraction.
Yeah, yeah. And it's time for our mid-roll dance break to invite everybody to the Visibility Accountability Group Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And in those calls, we dig in, we go a little deeper. So this month is all about public speaking. And tonight, we're going to talk more about the PowerPoint versus speaking from the heart. And as we come back from this dance break in our little commercial to talk about trust, trusting yourself from speaking from the heart. And Amy, I'm going to let you take that over right after this little dance break.
Share your story, own your name, step in the light, ignite your flame, show up, shine out, it's time to be heard, flip fear into power with every word, visibility, accountability, we write a wild new legacy.
Yay.
And here we are. So yes, Amy, you totally know about what it is about trusting yourself and that speaking from the heart. Tell
Yeah.
us more about how we can trust ourselves versus just depending on our slides.
I remember when I first started talking about stories and trying to discover like how I would express myself. And my coach, Fireman Rob, which I adore, he would just go, Amy, this is your story. You know it. Just trust yourself that you know this. And however you tell it's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right. But it still took some time to hear that over and over and over and then practicing it. And I'm like, I do know this. I lived this. Nobody can tell me that I'm wrong because I lived it. It's my life. It's my story. It's my experience, my knowledge. What I have inside me is what I'm expressing. So I got this, right? This is easy. I just got to get up there and say it in a way that is crafted for them to hear it.
Mhm.
That's really what you're doing is you're finding a way to communicate it clearly and in an emotional way, but those stories are yours and you own them. You know them. And when
Yeah.
you're ready to tell them, that's when you develop them.
Yes. And we both know that it's a process, isn't it? Just like you're talking about, it wasn't an overnight. You had to hear it again and again. And that is one of the wonderful things that we do as well is help coach people through the
Yes.
speaking and what does it look like? How does it land? How does it make sense? So tell us some tips that we, like to share out there as well.
Yeah, when we start to tell stories about anything really, we tend to put a lot of details into the conversation. But what a PowerPoint does is give visuals, right?
Mhm.
But when we tell from the heart, we have to express the visuals. So when you're telling a story, tell it so that people can start to play it in their mind. Like it's like reading a book. You start to envision what's happening as you read it. Same thing we want you to do when you're telling the story. You're like, oh my gosh, I totally see the little girl climbing the tree and, and what's going to happen? Is she going to follow? Like they're engaged with it like you do a book or a movie. Like what's going to happen?
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, you can do this with what's called dry material. Think about your favorite professors, your favorite teachers growing up. They knew how to do that. That's why they became your favorite teachers. They took boring material and created story out of it, so it became memorable.
Yeah,
Think
because they made it relevant to you.
Yes. Yeah, especially a teenager who doesn't wanna listen to anybody, right?
I like exactly. Yeah, I mean, think about it, my favorite class in school in college, I was an art major, was world economics. Surprised the heck out of me, but that guy got me so engaged in the idea of how world economics started working that I started paying more attention. So I totally I cannot remember the name of the teacher, give him credit to sparking that interest
Mhm.
and how we're all interconnected around the world. And that kind of has been a theme of my life, is how we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
That teacher who, like, world economics, I was like, I have to take this class.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. Or doing the little bit unexpected. You know, we had a teacher who was my psychology teacher in high school, and he would literally, when he would pop himself on the desk, it wasn't just a pop, he would like pop and slide. So he grabbed your attention, and then he'd be telling his, the lesson, and he'd go, my college roommate and I, we're teenagers. We're thinking about college next, right? So boom, he used this life experience, whether it happened or not, we'll never know. But he used those experiences to say, hey, this is something that you can learn. So it's like, why not add that little unexpected in your otherwise boring PowerPoint presentation? Something exciting. Pop a
Oh,
picture in, like we're talking about, that just like, oh,
or like Christina just said, which is great, movement,
yeah,
intentional movement on the stage.
yes,
Do a shuffle, do a, like, or I've had people, like, you do things with your hands intentionally. One person was like, oh, I did not like my mouth, my smile, so she'd cover her mouth. There are things you can do that really will make a difference in just movement.
hmm,
So that's also great to do. And there's so many different ways of creating a new, like, motion point or visual point, or because in video, right, we're always talking like 30 seconds and you should have a new cut or a new shot that makes people interesting, and they're constantly, because their attention span's slow. You can do that on stage without a PowerPoint, just you.
yeah. Yeah, I know. It's funny because I was at a networking event last week and they had a speaker who talked about public speaking. And what did she do? She circled the room the entire time that she was talking. And at the end, she goes, did you notice what I was doing? I'm like, of course I noticed right away, right? But some of them were just like, I have to crick my neck around. She's like, yeah, that way you were forced to pay attention in a different way than just sitting there, wanting to grab your phone and think about your email or your text or whatever. You were becoming engaged because of the movement. Yes,
Well,
the subtleties.
Christina and I were just at a 333 event in Santa Fe, and one of my speakers is like, can I sing in the middle? And she was going to open with it, right? I'm like, ooh, let's not open with it. Let's put it in the middle. She's like, what? And I'm like, let's just try putting it in the middle. That way, all of a sudden people are watching and engaged, and all of a sudden she's saying, and I watch people go like this, because she had a powerful voice. And all of a sudden people were like in awe. Like, because the middle is kind of where people start to maybe a little bit lose, and she just grabbed their attention right back and got them fully engaged again. And it
Um,
was beautiful.
it was. I've got goosebumps just, hearing about it again because I can still hear her voice echoing in the room because it was a surprise. She's telling her story, and then to exemplify what it is was
Yeah, Diane did a killer example of that.
yes.
Even Christina did it. She started off and we're like, what is she doing? She started with her back to the audience, talking as though she was in the past.
Mhm.
And then she turns around and engages with us. We're all like, what is happening? I mean, I knew what was happening. The rest of the audience is like, how do we react to this? But they're fascinated at the same time. And then
Mhm.
they were glued in.
Yeah, yeah. It's all about that attention grabbing. There's so many ways and techniques to do it, and guess what? You can learn more with Amy and me when you join us, not only in our visibility accountability group, but some of the amazing things that we have coming up, like the Minneapolis conference this June. We have more of those to come, but that's the one we really want you to be in the room for, because we have amazing speakers who, look, you will not leave that room without feeling energized, excited, and ready to step into your next space.
Yes. Please join us, because it's going to be amazing.
So my friends who are listening and watching us today, we are so appreciative that you are here, and we look forward to seeing you in the room soon. I'm Christina.
And I'm Amy.
And
Have a good
till
one.
next time.